Guys, you good?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, I think we're
Yeah,
good.
maybe.
Right, I'm gonna get started then. Um, so we had the biggest comeback of the season. Now, this one's always kind of hard to find because people don't really talk about them that much. But I think Shrek's had two really good comebacks to win in playoffs, and that always gets a lot more sort of recognition than anything else. If you lose map one in playoffs and then you turn it around, it's quite a good one. And both the main contenders were the grand final game and the Gang de Parqueto game. And I, as expected, the grand final game came out on top. So this game here, where the Russians beat them 3-1, and kind of this also adds to the charm that everyone was expecting the Russians to win this one. They lose 3-1. Second map, they're playing Granary. They bring it to Golden Cap with 4 rounds each, and then win the Golden Cap, and then absolutely destroy on Sunshine. And to me, that is definitely the greatest comeback this season. In the pressures of the grand final, which is really good from Shreks here. So they win that award. Moving on to the best game of the season. The best game of the season this year was certainly. There was a lot of contenders here. I feel like there's some bias in the voting, but Choking Hazard versus Neowise ended up winning this one. It was a week 3 matchup. Both teams really strong, obviously. Expected to get high up. Got matched up week 3 and continued the trend of Choking Hazard versus Neowise scrims where both games would go to draws or golden caps. And this time 3-2 to on Gullywash to Choking Hazard on a golden cap, and 2-1 to Neowise on the Reckoner game, where specifically Seismic dropped an insane 3k on mid with 2 great kills on Sniper, and then like a 180 flick on me as I'm trying to shoot him in the back. It was definitely a fun one to watch, really tense. Yeah, really good game. The biggest upset. This was a toss-up. There were two fairly standout ones, and I'm definitely gonna give this. Yes, we're started. So we're on category 3. The biggest upset this year. And yeah, there were two main contenders for this. Flares, you got any idea what you would choose for this one?
Biggest
So
upset.
so we
Wait, what
had
were the nominees?
so we had Choking Hazard crashing out in the quarterfinals. Kind of something that people didn't expect, especially since we finished second in the main season. And then the grand finals with the Russians, who have won every game so far, getting into the grand finals and actually losing them to Shrek's Gods, especially on that comeback. There was a toss-up. The votes were pretty close, but it was edged out by the Choking Hazard game versus Parqueto.
Bias.
Especially, I think the biggest deal here is the margins, really. It wasn't really that close, and was kind of expected to be a very strong, dominated by Choking Hazard game, and Parqueto just pulled it out. It was a really good game from them, and they kind of deserved the win there. Now, moving on to the team awards. The most organized team. Now, this is obviously a bit a difficult one to judge because no one knows what every team's like. But this goes straight to Vegan Chaos. Vegan Chaos
Okay.
had a brilliant, scrim plan. Everyone sort of appreciated it, and Vegan Chaos win that award with a resounding set of votes with a 14-1 award ratio. Everyone kind of voted for Vegan Chaos in that one.
Easy dub.
a fairly controversial one coming up. This is Saltiest Team. Now, there were certainly moments of salt across the season. Vegan Chaos experienced a bit of that with SDU. After denying a few mercs, SDU took to the match page comments and made a few comments on the match page that turned out to be a little salty. Blackjack purely because they're they have Hollow on the team, who is a salty boy. I'm gonna start drawing these on the screen just so that everyone can see what we're doing. But this award for Saltiest Team goes to Gang de Parqueto. And I think to be honest, it's quite an obvious one. Master is a lord of the salt, gets very upset about everything all the time. So pretty much what everyone expected, to be honest. And got a majority of the votes there. So next one is the team that grinded the most, and this actually got a very fair split. A lot of teams played quite a lot of scrims this season, and on top of that, teams like Vegan Chaos did constant demo reviews, looking at enemy teams' demos, and it's something that I did personally. I watched enemy demos and tried to figure out what their strategy was, but the team that grinded the most would certainly go to Garbage Crew. They had a very consistent scrim pattern. They played a lot. They played a lot of DM. You often jump into a DM server and find at least one of them in there. So fairly deserved award. Now again, this I might sound like a broken record here, but we've got the most cringe team award. And one could argue that the salty team and the cringe team are fairly similar. But this one had quite a lot of divisiveness going on, to be honest. The nominees for this one were Femboys, Parqueto, Stellar Artois, Six Divs Under, and even a lone vote for Shrek's Gods. But of course, with some things that happened during the seasons, especially with Master's team getting 4 different players banned for racism during the season, the most cringe team goes to Gang de Parqueto. And yeah, bit of a good one for this one. Now, next up, we have the Nicest Team. Flaz, you got any ideas who you think the Nicest Team is?
Alright, so first of all, what are the nominees?
Right, so the nominees for this one are LolTilt, NeoWise, Chumtoad Net, hashtag Free Palestine, Garbage Crew, and Common Decency. All of these teams have gotten votes.
Chumtoad.
And honestly, you'd be correct. Chumtoad.net ended up winning the Nicest Team. And to be fair, every time I've interacted with them, extremely nice team. Happy to have a scrim. Never any BM in chat. So to me, a fairly obvious one. But also LolTilt, NeoWise, some really nice teams this season, and a lot less shit talking than there was in Open last season, for sure. Now, We have the How Did They Not Get Playoffs award. So this award goes to a team that probably should have got playoffs, but kind of failed to get it. And to be honest, for this one, there's two main competitors for this one. Blackjack with some strong players on the team. Failed to make playoffs, ended up finishing 9th with the same points as Fumo Fanatics, but with just worse numbers. Actually, I think Fumo Fanatics got 1 point more, but generally, people expected Blackjack to get in, and also Common Decency. Especially as predicted by Dumtum, there would be some German teams in playoffs, but just didn't happen to be. And the votes were very split, but Blackjack ends up winning that one. Probably deserved playoffs, but didn't actually end up getting it. Whoa. Next up, we have best team name. You got any preferences, Fles?
So the nominees first.
We have Stephanie's Angles, little wordplay. Flight or Flight. Now, I think a part of the humor of this team name was that last season they were an open called Fight or Flight. You know, the standard response. And this season they changed it to Flight or Flight, which adds a little bit of a humor to it. We've got Shrek's Gods, and I mean, someone voted for Neowise. I'm not quite sure why. I don't actually get the joke, but their choice. Any preference, Fliz?
Flight or Fight.
Flight or Flight, and yes, Flight or Flight did end up winning the best team name award. I totally agree. It's a brilliant team name. More of those in the future, please. I'm sick of boring team names. And to be fair, I'm gonna have to give some credit to Aleski's team, who changed team names about 6 times in the season, and they had some pretty good ones throughout. Right, the last team award is I'd say a fairly controversial one, and it's biggest sandbaggers. You got any off the top of the head that come to mind, Flares, before I read the
off the top
nominees?
Of the head?
Yeah. Who do you think was sandbagging?
If honestly, if I don't know the nominees, then I don't know who was sandbagging.
Well, the nominees this season, the main 3, I think, that were nominated in the team leader meeting were Gang de Parqueto, Loltilt, and Chumtoad. Chumtoad and Loltilt mainly based on sort of legacy players, people that have played years ago in much higher divs, and have brought it back into low this season. And Parqueto because, well, they have picked up a few players this season in the middle of the season that were certainly above low level. So who would you pick, Fles?
Parqueto.
And that, by 1 vote, ended up winning. So Gang de Parqueto wins the biggest low sandbaggers this season. And I feel like that one's going to come up again. Gang de Parqueto seem to be fairly living rent-free in people's heads, especially mine. So, right, we move on to the miscellaneous player awards. Most sus player. There were two main people nominated for this award, and that was Lepra and Krikin, or smiley face guy. And both of them got the same amount of votes. So
what?
We'll give those guys the most sus players this season. Now comes up my favorite category, the Flair's Classic CEO of Racism Award. And honestly, as always in ETF2L, there's gonna be loads of nominees. So I'm just gonna read out a few people that have gotten votes. We've got Rudwald, Master, Yoop, Tendon, and Benito. Bear in mind, 3 of these players play for the same team. But rising above all of them, the king of the N-word is Rudwald, playing for Stella Artois. And I have a funny story regarding this one. I like to record my officials and put them on my YouTube channel. Like if you wanted to watch that Choking Hazard versus Neowise game from Best Game of the Season, you can watch that on my YouTube. A little bit of a shout out. But I merked for Stella Artois week 1, and I was gonna upload the whole VOD, but Rudwald said the N-word like 3 times in the space of 30 minutes, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to put an edited video out, and that's what started my edited videos section. So thank you, Rudwald, you've really developed my channel. Appreciate it, man. Moving on to the biggest DM monkey, and when I was pitching this to the team leader team that was putting nominations up for players, I made sure to mention this award is specifically for people who have really strong DM that far outweighs their brain capacity. And to be honest, out of all of the awards, this one got the most range of votes. So for this one, we have a 3-way tie. We have Gang de Parqueto's Benito, the apparently Roma with no brain. We have Choking Hazard's Yolfok, 2,500 MG low, by the way. And we have Nintails, who has risen up in the ranks through pure DM gaming. So well done to all 3 of these. You guys have mastered the art of DM and MG, all getting the same amount of votes. Now, we have the somehow still low award. Now, in my head, this one was an obvious one, but there were a few split votes here, and the main 2 culprits here were Master and Jenny. And to be honest, I think both of these guys deserve a mention. Master has finished like playoffs in low 3 seasons in a row or something like that. Jenny has played seasons in higher divs as well. They probably don't deserve to be in low, they should probably be higher, but somehow they just keep returning. And to me, Master is the obvious choice here. What do you think, Flez?
Well, it's gonna be a tie, I think.
You think it's a tie? I mean, yeah, it is a tie. Both these guys got the same amount of votes.
Bro, have you noticed how I've got every prediction right?
Okay, Flez, you're crazy. The next, the other people that managed to get a shout out on here are Lion King from Common Decency, who certainly is an absolute legend of the game, and definitely doesn't deserve to be in low, and Harris from Choking Hazard, who had won mid previously and is skulking around in low. I love you, Harris. You're in chat. Next one is the biggest dropper award.
Oh, I know.
Dropper with an A, of course. And honestly, I wish I could say this was close, but a bunch of medics got a single vote. but the god of all drops, Mr. Broken Car Wheel, who managed to make an entire frag movie of him dropping Uber. It just has to be the one. Who has the balls to upload a YouTube video and post it in the Big Explosions chat on ECF2L of them just dropping Uber? It's big dick energy. GG easy was cloths. Brilliant player.
The average frag movie enjoyer versus the average dropout enjoyer.
Drop movie enjoyer. The next category is biggest roster rider. There is always one or two, probably more usually, but this season, there was a very clear winner of this, and it's Sammy, who played for Gang de Parquetto, but didn't actually play for played for Shrek's Gods, but didn't actually play for Shrek's Gods. And, Shrek's Gods managed to win the whole thing. The guy gets a gold medal out of it, without actually doing anything. He did? Oh, well, I was told he didn't play by Jenny, so blame Jenny for that one. But either way, apparently, according to the universe, Sammy is a big roster rider here. So, next up, we have the biggest Sigma award. Now, obviously, this one's up to interpretation. What do you think a Sigma entails? And for some reason, both of these players ended up being medic mains, and that is KO from Choking Hazard and Buffed, who first played for Aleski's team and ended up playing with Stellar Artois for a bit. And who do you think here, Fles? Who deserves the Big Sigma award?
KO, of course. KO wins these.
And yeah, of course, KO the GOAT gets the biggest Sigma award for this season. And honestly, I don't think anyone else could win this. The man literally stopped having sex with a woman to go play scrims, so it's an obvious one for me. Next up, the last of the miscellaneous player awards. We've got the best sniper this season, best off-class sniper. And honestly, I think this goes multiple ways, right? We have Lepra, who played for us last season, who in an official week 7 against Shrek's Gods did super well on sniper, ended up basically carrying the entire official. We also have Seismic, who for Neowise always did work whenever he switched to sniper, and Kriken, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that guy's name, but the smiley face guy. All extremely good in their own way. Who would you give this one to, Fles?
Lepra.
Lepra, and I mean, you'd be correct. Fles is incredible at predicting these clearly, but
what can I say?
Lepra wins the best sniper of the season. And now, the awards that everyone's been waiting for. The full-on player awards. We have the best combo to start with. And to be honest, you could argue for a few different combos throughout, but considering the winners of the competition, having a very, very strong combo with Oko, Havik, and Zemi, it just has to be Shrek's Gods for me. They got a bunch of votes, and I think they kind of pounded. And honorable mention to Bob D as well. I guess some people would argue Pocket Soldier is part of the combo, but hardly depends. But yeah, extremely strong combo. Did a lot of work for them in the grand finals. Moving on, we have the best flank. And I think this one was contested quite a lot more than the best combo one, because you could make arguments for a lot of teams here. And the big two we were Gang de Parqueto and Garbage Crew. Who do you think deserves this one, Flez? So we have Benito. Crew. You have Benito and Yacht versus Christ. Who was it? Light Diaz and we got the flank scout for the Russians. Oh dear, that's my fault. But who do you think deserves this one?
I think the Russians.
And I mean, you would be right. The Russians won by a single vote. Yeah, Kriken, Light Diaz and Kriken. I mean, it's an incredible combo on the flank. I mean, I personally can attest to it. We played against these guys on Product week 6, and they absolutely destroyed our flank. We literally couldn't do much. Extremely strong combo. So I personally feared, says Dorkin in chat. These guys definitely deserve the best flank. Now, moving on to the best pocket scout of the season. And to be honest, this was fairly unanimous. We have a few shout-outs. We've got Aloe, we've got Creamy, we've got myself, and we've got Oko. But to be honest, main calling for the winning team, it's kind of expected that Oko gets this shout-out. Oko had a great season. When he was missing from Shrek's Gods, they had their only big loss of the season against us. So it's fairly clear those guys needed the man to win. So Oko deserves the Big Pocket Scout of the Season award. Next up, we have the Flank Scout of the Season, and there are a few shouts for this one. So I'll let you decide, Flez. Who do you think out of Lepra, Yacht, and Jenny deserves the Flank Scout of the Season award? Oh, sorry, and also Kriken, the GC Scout.
This is hard. I think that it's Jenny.
So, believe it or not, before I got to cast my vote, Jenny and Lepra were on the same amount of votes.
Uh-oh.
And
no, my perfect track record. Come on.
Personally, I think Lepra is an absolute beast. And I would give it to Lepra. I mean, if you're as good as that guy, people like Master say he's cheating. So, you know, if you're that good, there's clearly something to it. But I'm going to be impartial. I'm going to give it as a two-way split between Lepra and Jenny.
Let's go.
Both of these guys deserve it. They had a really good season. Jenny probably played more than he expected to due to players missing. But he had a really good performance. I think Lepra deserves the main award though because he did play every game. He pounded every game. That's my personal winner, but it is a split between these two guys. Moving on to the Roamer of the season. And this was the biggest split of the player awards. This is the one that had the most the biggest range of votes above 1. We have Benito from Gang de Parqueto. We've got Light Diaz from Garbage Crew. We've got Dowell from Vegan Chaos. We've got Yoop from Blackjack. We've got Netch from 6 Divs Under. And we've got Voki from Shrek's Gods. Now, Flares, who do you think won this one? This is a very interesting award, to be honest.
I don't know. Jeez. I want to say.
It's
wait, this
definitely
is
the
Romer,
most
right?
contested role. Yes, Romer of the season.
I want to say Dan from Vegan Chaos.
And you would be right. Dan,
oh my god, no
Dan
way.
wins the Romer of the season. Dowell from Vegan Chaos. And to be honest, I casted / watched quite a few games this season, and I don't think there is a roamer as impactful as Dan was in Vegan Chaos Officials. They may not have got to playoffs, so they didn't play at the big stage, but I've seen Dan go huge against top teams and carry his weight completely. So I'm more than happy to give this award to Dan. And then moving on to the Pocket Soldier of the season. There were 4 different people nominated for this, but only 2 of them actually got votes. And that really shows you how good these 2 guys were. We have Khalidi, who played for Gang de Parqueto, and we have Bob D, who played for Shrek's Gods. Guys, you've got any thoughts on that one?
Bob. It's gonna be Bob.
And it is the Irishman himself, Bob
Holy
D.
fuck.
Bear in mind, this guy also got nominated for Player of the Season. He's just a beast. He played extremely well, did really huge work for Shrek's Gods, and most certainly a part of the reason they got to the finals and ended up winning. So the guy deserves that Pocket of the Season award. Now, moving on to the best Demoman this season. And this, again, not as close as the Roma votes, but we have Demirbilek from Neowise. We have Dempsey from Vegan Chaos. We have Dippy, who actually ended up subbing or afterwards. We have Zemi and we have Lion King. So, who do you think out of those 5 deserves that award, Fles?
I think Dempsey deserves it. I'm unbiased, by the way.
Flares does play for Vegan Chaos, so he does have a bit of bias. And
None.
I mean, it's close.
No.
Demirbilek actually ended up getting the Demoman of the season. However, Dempsey was only 1 vote behind, and it was a very close call. Dempsey, of course, Pipe Lord himself. But Demirbilek, just one of the best demos in low. I mean, clearly the best one, according to the voters. He had a huge game, a huge bunch of games for Neowise. Did massive work. Really great player. Moving on to the Medic of the Season. And this went 3 different ways. The 3 main nominees for this one were KO from Choking Hazard, Strauss from Gang de Parqueto, and Havoc from Shrek's Gods. Flares, what do you think?
I think it's KO.
And honestly, it was very
KO.
close. KO ended up winning the best med of the season. Him and Havoc actually split the votes quite evenly, but KO came out on top in the end. So I'm gonna give a little shout out to Havoc because he had a good season with Shrek's Gods as well, and obviously ended up winning. So that makes our sort of makeshift combined team of the season. as such, so we have our pocket scout, Oko, our flank scout, Lepra. We have Roma, Dowell. We have pocket soldier, Bob D, Demoman, Demir Bilek, and Medic KO. Just soak that in, folks. Really strong team. I mean, pretty clear this team would do extremely well this season. Some really standout performances throughout. The final of the main awards. Obviously an extremely important one. The best overall player. And unsurprisingly, the two main nominees for these was the two main callers and pocket scouts of the finalists. So this was split between Aloe and Oko. Liz, you got any ideas who this could be?
It's Oko.
This was actually split down the middle almost, and there was only one vote splitting these two guys apart. And the person who actually won this award was Aloe. Extremely strong player. I mean, sorry, Flares, you got that one wrong, but extremely strong players, both of them. Aloe just inched it out. Huge performances from him. Sorry, Oko, if you're watching. But yeah, huge plays from both. And then last things here are the hidden awards, the awards you've not been told about. And these are always my favorites. So we have the best predictor of the season. This goes to Dumtum for getting 3 out of 8 playoff teams correctly. And out of his playoff teams, he only got 1 out of 4 that actually ended up in the semifinals. If we look into this closer, we have Portofer that finished 22nd in the league. Garbage Crew, who actually ended up getting to the finals. Common Decency, who didn't make playoffs. Geschwind, again, I feel like that Dumtum German bias is coming in. They ended up finishing 19th. Then Lultilt and Choking Hazard. I'm sorry, Dumtum, but you spelt our name wrong. There's no S there. But Choking Hazard and Lultilt both made the quarterfinals. Blackjack, who ended up finishing 9th. And Descent, Aleski's team. And that played 4 games, got 16 points, and ended up dropping out. So, I mean, good effort, Dumtum. You tried. Next up, the Merc Denial Award goes to Shrek's Gods for denying 14 Mercs for a low semi-final against Parqueto. There is a lot of context to this. Both teams have their reasons, but it's a lot funnier if we ignore the context. 14 Mercs denied is quite a lot. And then my favorite, crafted by yours truly, the Rules 3.6 and 3.7 are useless award. These rules specifically mention about hijacking teams and bringing in players from higher divisions. Now, if we look at Gang de Parqueto here, they played week 1 with the roster of Master, Creasy, Cool, Dummy, Miri, and Yacht. By the time they played us in week 5, they picked up Strauss, who was mid last season, Khalid, who played 2 games in Div 2 this season, and his team ended up dropping out. But they did get points, so it's not like they got rolled. So that's already 2 higher players. And after we beat them in week 5, they ended up adding Tendon to their team, who played 4 games in mid in season 39. and Benito, who played mid in season 37. So much for a low team, huh? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the season 39 awards. We'll be doing one of these for Highlander this season. So I'll see you in about 4 or 5 weeks. Blaise, any last words?
Vote for me.
Vote for me. I mean, congrats to everyone. Congrats to Shrek's Gods for winning the season. You guys had a great season. And see you later, everyone.